Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Wounded Warrior Project provides these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence at no cost for life. So now it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Join us at findwwp.org.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com. K98talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98talk.com.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Come expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those who take. Attorney General's lying even while...
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
All right, folks, well, happy Wednesday to you. This is America Off the Rails. I am Rick Robinson, and it is just a little bit after 7 Central Time here. For those of you tuning in expecting to hear Grouchy, he'll be back with us next week. You did, if you're just now tuning in, you did miss a classic episode of his show from 6 to 7 this evening. He needed the night off, and the joys of being the programming director means that for once I actually get to open for Bunny. Come on, who doing this type of stuff doesn't want to open for Bunny at least once? So yes, she will be joining us live right here on K98 Talk, as she will be every week for as long as we can hold on to her, and hopefully that is a very, very long time. But she'll be here with us tonight at 8 at her regular time, or 9 Eastern, for those of you who are used to Eastern time. Now, today will be a little bit different. I'll have a guest joining me for the bottom half of the show. That would be Mr. Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, also heard Monday evenings here on K98 Talk. Also a part of the Polititainment group. Decided to have him on maybe to give folks that are new to his show or maybe haven't or don't even know we're carrying his show yet, because it is a little later than the stuff that we normally have been running on a regular basis. So I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that that show is there and that you are tuning in to check it out. So he'll be joining us for the last half of the show. Now, I have to say there's a few things that may turn into a rant for the first half of the show. I'm just being upfront. Because unless you're living under a rock, you know that finally the stories that they tried to make everything out to be in New York City, the second time, and then also Ferguson, the first story, what everybody was trying to make those stories out to be has actually finally happened. And I mean, there's video to prove it. So I want to talk about that for a little bit today. But first, a couple of things I do want to announce since I wasn't able to do my show yesterday. A little bit of sad news that I did find. James Best from the Dukes of Hazzard passed away yesterday. And one of Clint Eastwood's many co-stars, and unfortunately I don't have his name in front of me at the moment, but I still want to at least mention him, even if it's not by name, actually passed away today. He was his co-star for several movies. Any Which Way But Loose, actually, is the most prominent one that I remember him being part of, and sadly for the moment his name does escape me. But that is two actors that have brought me really good childhood memories that are now no longer with us. So, James Best, if anyone's wondering, is the sheriff from Dukes of Hazzard. So if you're in my age bracket, of course you probably grew up watching that show and had a crush on Daisy Duke, and then got really mad when Bo and Luke got replaced by Coy and Vance, and then you tried to watch it anyway, and then by then you were a teenager, and you're like, hey, I'm still seeing Daisy in short shorts, so we're good. I'm just saying. Okay. So anyway, a little bit of sadness there, especially, James Best. I mean, he was a big part of my childhood. And that was actually one of the most disappointing things about the Dukes of Hazzard remake for me, is they made the sheriff kind of short and frumpy looking, and they made Boss Hogg tall and skinny. I can't help it. I'm a stickler for details. Things should be the way they were in the original show as much as possible. And while I'm on the subject, before I get into the stuff that really has pissed me off over this week, mainly this shooting, what is it with all of these remakes and everybody wants to turn everything into a comedy? Dukes of Hazzard was a campy show, but it wasn't supposed to be a comedy. And then you had to turn it into a comedy. Starsky and Hutch was a good show. It was a drama show. It was a fun show to watch. I actually had cats. I named... my mom gave me the option when I was like 5-6 years old, when that show was really prominent, to name the cats. One of them was actually a girl, and it didn't matter. I named one Starsky and the other one Hutch, because I watched that show every time it came on. And then they had to go and screw it up and make it a comedy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like some Ben Stiller movies, but Starsky and Hutch is a comedy? No. They did the same thing with 21 Jump Street. Now, I do have to admit, though, I kind of have enjoyed those. But I'm still looking back on them going, those were never supposed to be funny. They had maybe a few funny moments here and there, but they weren't actually meant to be solid comedy movies. Although, again, guilty pleasure, I did actually enjoy 21 Jump Street a lot more than I thought I was going to. 22 Jump Street, meh. But 21 was good. 22, kind of, you already kind of knew what to expect. But while we're on the subject of movies, before I change gears, because I didn't really mean to go in this direction in the first place, if you haven't seen Let's Be Cops, that is another movie that I did not expect to enjoy, that I found rather humorous. Of course, you do have to suspend disbelief. Anyone who has worn a uniform or is currently wearing a uniform or part of the Thin Blue Line will laugh hysterically at certain moments when you see there's no way in hell these kind of things could really happen. But it's still, if you suspend a little bit of disbelief, and it's still a fun thing to watch. Okay, so to the shooting. Several things about that have pissed me off. One is you can plainly see in the video at that point, when the officer opens fire, the subject, honestly, in this instance, did have his back to him and he was running away. So why, after the shooting, or why shoot in the first place? He's running away. At that point, you can no longer claim that you were in fear for your life. If you're still in a life or death struggle with them, or they turn around and start charging back at you after they've started trying to beat the crap out of you, and you tell them to stop and they don't, whatever you have to do to keep yourself safe, that is on you, and that's up to that person for not listening. But if they're running away from you, you cannot say that you are in fear of your life. You cannot. And that's Handgun 101 basics. Even in the state of Oklahoma, for a private citizen, if someone is fleeing from you after they've committed a crime, you cannot open fire. And I understand that, everybody's like, well, it's different for police officers. No, not in this respect, it's not. He cannot legitimately say that he was in fear for his life. It saddens me very much that this happened to be a white police officer and a black subject, because the simple fact of the matter is, now it's going to be all about the race, not what a dumbass this particular police officer was. Because anybody with day one cadet training knows that you don't shoot at a fleeing suspect. It's ingrained in you, it's drilled into you. Once they've got their back turned on you and they're running away, you pursue them, but that's it. You tell them to stop, you yell, you say, hey, police, freeze, we're not done yet, come back here, and then you chase them. You can't just shoot somebody in the back because you feel like it. And then, in my opinion, the worst part of this video, if you haven't seen it, you can find it on YouTube. It's pretty easy to find. It's also all over the news, so if you haven't seen it, then you probably don't watch the news very much. That being said, the worst part of this video was, of course, you see the officer use his radio, out of breath, sounding like he's been in some big struggle that was honestly over a few minutes ago, which I'm an old fat white guy. I understand. After a little bit of exertion, you still sound huffy and puffy, so I get it. But, and then all of a sudden he busts out with the subject stole my taser. Okay, so then the next thing we see in the video is this police officer bend over, pick up an object, and go place it at the feet of the subject. Now, I haven't seen the video more than a couple of times on TV, so I'm not going to say what it is that he's putting at his feet, but I have a pretty good idea what it was that he was putting at his feet, because he didn't know anybody was videotaping him. Now, before anybody gets all huffy and puffy and starts talking about, well, see, that's the same thing that happened in Ferguson. We didn't have any video witnesses then. You still had forensic evidence. They're able to tell from the trajectory of the bullets and the entry angles and everything else whether he was facing toward the subject or away from the subject at the time the officer fired. So, no, there was not video footage of that Ferguson incident, but just because we see this cop do something completely stupid and then compound it by lying to a dispatcher and then most likely, allegedly, planting the taser near the body of the subject. I said allegedly. I mean, all of this is allegedly at this point, but the simple fact of the matter is, this time there was proof, we could see what happened, the forensics will line up with what we saw on the video, and this gentleman is facing murder charges. Now, this being said, I'm honestly tired of this, and for those of you who don't know, Monday night, Steve Long, host of Liberty Unfiltered, actually has come back home to K98 Talk. If you missed it live, you can catch the podcast in our normal place. But his show this coming Monday is about the police state. And because of the fact that I spent so much time in my uniform and wearing a badge and a gun, I get upset anytime anybody wants to start talking about how we are becoming a police state. But I have to admit, I've been out of the game for a while now, and some of the things that I'm starting to see and hear in the news is honestly starting to make me wonder. And I'm not saying that because I'm giving up hope. I have plenty of friends that are still in law enforcement. We talk on a regular basis. I do the pay it forward thing whenever I can and pay for somebody's coffee or lunch or whatever if they're in a uniform, whether it's military or police. But, it's just one of those things where, you see a video like this and you realize that, no, they might have gotten it wrong in these other two instances, but this just proves that what they're afraid of is actually still going on. How is this still going on in this day and age, in this country? How is this even possible? And is this a side effect of all of the issues and the anger that has come to pass over the race situation over the past several months, now over almost a year, I think, or maybe even a little over, since all of this has started coming back to the surface again. And the scariest thing about all of it, is Martin Luther King died for the rights that were given to people later. People of color. Black, brown, yellow, red, it didn't matter. And the fact that we have gone so far backwards, where a police officer finds it okay and acceptable to shoot someone in the back. I don't care what color that person's skin is that got shot in the back. The simple fact of the matter is it doesn't matter. But the fact that it happened to be someone who is a person of color makes it even worse, because now all of these people that have been wagging their finger over Ferguson and the New York City incident, that feel like they were robbed because there was no video proof, all we've done is given them something else to talk about. Something else to say, look, these two things, they happened. You're a white guy. You're not going to understand it. I've said it before. I've lost friends over the incident with Ferguson. People that I worked with for years no longer speak to me. Granted, at this point, we've moved on jobs. Several of us were in different locations now. But we still kept in touch through social media, and I actually considered these people friends. It wasn't... I mean, I consider people that I talk to on a daily basis on Facebook friends, even if I've never actually been in the same room with them. Because if you talk long enough, then they're your friends. But these are actually people that I worked with side by side, that I saw on a daily basis, in person, that completely turned away from me because I wouldn't stop siding with the police officers. This is the one time, ladies and gentlemen, that I can't do it. And it breaks my heart that I can't do it. Because there are so many of you out there that are still doing it right. You do it every day. You put your lives on the line for people that don't even realize that you're doing it. Much of them don't even care that you're doing it. And then you have a guy like this who destroys it all. I want to know why he had a uniform on to begin with. That's what I want to know. If you didn't honestly get involved in something like police work to actually try to make the world a better place and to try to do the right thing, then you don't deserve to have the damn uniform on. And I say that to every single one of you that are still wearing it today. If you have become so jaded and so frustrated and so tainted that everywhere you see nothing but perps and scales and everybody else and all the other slang terms that everybody uses for it, depending on where you are in the country, there's a billion of them, and I'm not going to say every single one of them. But if you've gotten to the point where that's all you can see, it's time for you to take a look in the mirror. Because I guarantee you, I can't say this for 100%, but like I said, I've been in similar situations. At that point, that police officer saw that subject that he was dealing with no longer as a citizen of the United States, but as his own personal enemy, because that subject chose to attack him. And then he tried to flee. You can't just shoot somebody in the back. You can't do it. I mean, my heart hurts for not only the family of the person that's now dead, but also I don't even know if this officer has a family. Like I said, I've only been able to see bits and pieces of the coverage, but I've seen the video, and I backed it up several times because I was like, there's no way this is actually on video. There's no way this happened. This is against every ounce of everything in my being is telling me that there's no way that this could have possibly happened. This goes against everything that anyone who has ever gone through any type of training, whether it's military police training, actual police training, or even just most of the private security training now, if you do it in a state that requires licensing, is on par in a lot of respects with the police officer training. It's just not as intensive and it doesn't last as long. This goes against every single thing that I have ever had taught to me in training, to shoot at someone who's running away from you. He was running away from you at that point. Yes, he had a warrant, but it was a civil warrant. It was a child support warrant. It's not like you couldn't have found him again later. Why did you feel the need to pull that trigger? Why did you validate all of these people that have been screaming about Ferguson and everything else? You, with 8 pulls of a trigger, validated everything they've been screaming about for the last year. You have now officially painted a target again on all of your fellow brothers and sisters in uniform that are doing the job the right way on a daily basis because you decided you didn't want to chase after the guy anymore and you were pissed off because he tried to fight you. I mean, come on. We can't even say allegedly at this point. I mean, there's fucking video. There's video of you shooting the guy in the back. This is crap. I hope, not only do I hope that you are given the maximum penalty, whatever that may be, which I understand in that state the possibility of the death penalty is on the table. I'll go one better for you. I don't know if he should get the death penalty. I think he should get life in prison and be put in general population. That's how strongly I feel about what this officer did. Because with all the times that I have gone to bat and had the back of officers and gone through doors with officers and done warrant sweeps with officers and done everything that I've done in my life, the simple fact of the matter is this guy crossed the line. And there's video footage to prove it. We can see it with our own eyes. The subject was yards away from him when he opened fire. He can't say that he was in fear of his life anymore. Hell, at that point, the subject was far enough away from him that his taser probably wouldn't have even reached him. So I don't know why he said, well, he stole my taser. It just makes me so angry because there are so many of you out there that do it right. You do it the right way every single day. You make a difference. You make people's lives safer. And these guys are the ones that get you the press. Or these guys, or even when you do it right, because of the fact that there are these guys out there, even when you do it right, everybody thinks you've done it wrong. This incident has probably set back community relations with the police nationally for 10 years or more. At this point, about the only thing that might make it better is the fact that a lot of them are moving towards doing body cameras. Because at least now, when we have incidents, there will be footage. And we'll know when it's done right, when it's done wrong, and it'll be much like this case. If you screw up, they better throw the damn book at you. Plain and simple. They had better throw the book at you. I'm sorry. I had to take a second to compose myself again because, like I said, this really, really, really makes me angry. I've done the job. I've been to the point where I've had to decide: is this going to be the time that I've got to shoot someone? I was lucky enough during my time in uniform that I never had to pull the trigger, unless I was shooting a paper. But I've had to draw my weapon before. I've had to clear rooms before. I've had to go through doors before. I've had to serve warrants before. I've done traffic stops. Anybody who's ever done a traffic stop laughs anytime you hear somebody on the media talking about a routine traffic stop, because there's no such thing. Because each one is different. But there are millions of you in uniform that do it right every single day. And since nobody's saying this to you right now, because we're focusing on the guy that did it wrong, I just want to take a second to say to all of you that do it right, to all of you that are out there trying to make a difference, I just want to say thank you. It really is that simple. I just want to say thank you. Because your job is getting harder and harder and harder every day. It's one of the reasons why I got out. It's one of the reasons why I got even out of private sector, because it just got to the point where it wasn't worth it anymore. I was tired of having to put my life on the line every single day to be able to put food on my family's table. That wasn't the life I wanted anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was great when I was younger, but I had gotten to the point where I was putting in tons of hours every day. I was almost never home. Was making really good money once I hit private sector, at least for a few years until the economy crashed. And I have to admit, truth be told, if the economy hadn't crashed, I would probably still be doing private security work because I made really good money at it. But the simple fact of the matter is the economy did crash. But the one thing that I made abundantly clear to anyone who ever worked with me, even in the private security field, is we're going to do things the right way. There will be no shortcut and corners cut. There will be none of the BS that was already still at least occasionally showing up in the news. But God, it's everywhere now. It's everywhere. And I mean, it goes back to everything else that we've talked about before on this show. You can't have a private moment anymore. And this time, there's a good there's a good outcome to it, but there's lots of times when people are using cameras and you don't even know. Case in point right here. I'm usually not a fan of those cameras. Today, I have to admit, I am pretty happy that there was one here. While it pains me to have to talk about it, and it pains me because I know there are so many of you that do it right on a daily basis, this guy did it wrong. And unless they can show some sort of proof that that particular video was tampered with somehow, which is why I do keep occasionally throwing the word allegedly in there, then this guy deserves whatever happens to him. Plain and simple. Alright, so at this point, we are getting to the point where it is about time to take a little bit of a break. We are getting pretty close to the bottom of the hour. So I'm going to queue up a couple things here. And then in case Daniel's not with us yet, I do have one other thing I kind of wanted to talk about just because it has me a little bit excited. Just a little. Just saying. Alright, so that's going to do it for this particular segment of America Off the Rails. We will be right back here in just a moment after a couple commercial messages. So don't forget, we still got about 30 minutes left. We'll be right back in here in just a couple minutes. This is America Off the Rails.
Hey y'all, this is Sam Janney, also known as The Bunny, and you're listening to America Off the Rails.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear Barack Obama's speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I mean, I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, and on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern and 11 Central here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
This is Misty, owner of Wax It Studio in Edmond, Oklahoma, and I'm here to talk to you about a skincare product called Theramedics. Theramedics has a wonderful line of products from anti-aging to hyperpigmentations all the way to acne. In fact, everyone at some point in our life is affected by acne. Acne can cause a great deal of embarrassment and anxiety, and in order to prevent and help other people, I have tapped into this wonderful product called Theramedics. Visit my website at www.prettyskindeep.com. Again, that's www.prettyskindeep.com.
We're gonna spread happiness. We're gonna spread freedom. Obama's gonna change it. Obama's gonna lead 'em.
So let me be clear. You didn't build that.
Everything he's done is clean as a whistle. He's never not only broken any law, he's never done anything wrong. He's the perfect father, the perfect husband, the perfect American.
Hey y'all, this is Sam Janney, or the Bunny as many of you know me by, your friendly neighborhood bad girl of conservatism. Here to talk to you about my show. I'll talk about conservative issues, my top 10 douchebags of the week, and have some pretty badass conservative guests on the show. All that, plus me, your resident bunny with a chainsaw.
Wednesday nights will never be the same. It's Unapologetically Bunny. Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
Listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
For our own cause, we got a pen and telephone to bypass all your laws. Political correctness will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, lest you pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets cause there's no longer free. You cannot make a move now that the NSA can see. Don't expect equality, respect, or fair play. The IRS will target those who vote the wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to the place.
All right, folks, we're back. We're live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, and so far we have kind of been all over the map. Talked a little bit about movies, a little bit about the fact that James Best from Dukes of Hazzard passed away yesterday, and a co-star of Clint Eastwood as well has passed away today. Sadly, even during the break, I kind of forgot to go grab his name, so sadly his name is still escaping me. At this point, we do have one other thing I'd really like to touch on, at least a little bit, and then hopefully Jason will be with us. If not, I will continue to prattle on. Not a problem at all. All right, so since I wasn't able to do my show yesterday, the other thing that I really kind of wanted to talk about was the fact that we have a certain Republican hopeful who has now made his announcement. And I do have a little bit of a clip I want to play about that, and then we will see what we have going on.
The Washington machine that gobbles up our freedoms and invades every nook and cranny of our lives must be stopped. We borrow $1 million a minute. This vast accumulation of debt threatens not just our economy, but our security. We can wake up now and do the right thing. Quit spending money we don't have. Congress will never balance the budget unless you force them to do so. Congress has an abysmal record with balancing anything. Our only recourse is to force Congress to balance the budget with a constitutional amendment. The enemy is radical Islam. You can't get around it. And not only will I name the enemy, I will do whatever it takes to defend America from these haters of mankind. I say that your phone records are yours. I say the phone records of law-abiding citizens are none of their damn business. To rescue a great country now adrift, join me as together we seek a new vision for America. Today, I announce with God's help, with the help of liberty lovers everywhere, that I am putting myself forward as a candidate for President of the United States of America.
All right, so yeah, this was going to be part of what I was going to talk about yesterday, but there were some things that got in the way, so I wasn't able to be with you yesterday. However, I am going to cover it today. Up until now, I honestly really haven't made my decision yet. And this is going to parrot a lot of folks, because I hear a lot of folks saying the same thing. But the reason I haven't made my decision yet is because since the field isn't quite opened up yet, let me tell you what I want to see, or the person that I want to see, even though they don't necessarily have a name yet. I want the most conservative person who can win to run. And I say that for several reasons. Conservatism works. Every time it's tried, it works. Plain and simple. Now, there are some areas where conservatism needs to learn to loosen up just a little bit, and I'm not going to go into those today, but the economic principles of conservatism work every single time they are tried. I don't necessarily agree with some of the things that Rand Paul has said about his international policies when he's talked about the hands-off approach. That is a great concept, and let me just say, if it was possible, I would be all over it. But the simple fact of the matter is, some jackwagon, shortly after World War II, decided that we needed to become the world police force. And if I had a time machine, whether it be a TARDIS, and I could hop in, dial it back, pop out of a phone box, punch somebody in the face, or even if it was a DeLorean, if I could get that bitch up to 88 mile an hour, go back and run him over, hey, I'd be all over it. I'm just saying, because we don't need to be the world police force, or at least we didn't. But look at what's going on in the world around us today. We are trying to step back as the world police force, and people that have no business trying to be that police force are trying to step in, because even in politics, even though politics is the most unnatural man-made creation on earth, the simple fact of the matter is the policies of nature still apply, and nature abhors a vacuum. So when all of a sudden we decided we were going to take more of a hands-off approach and we were going to try this lead from behind concept, it's just, I don't know. That's a story for another day. So we're just going to let that thought die where it is for the moment. But, the lead from behind approach is dumb. It's kind of like the whole idea of the bottom-up economic plan. I don't know of anybody who makes $5, $6, $7 an hour who's all of a sudden going to instantly turn around and start providing people jobs. I mean, I'm middle class at this point. And I'm trying to bust through that ceiling so that we can get to the point where we're making a decent income off of this stuff, and then maybe I don't have to do my day job anymore. But I may never get there. But it's not like I'm just going to say, we're going to throw everything, we're going to throw caution to the wind, throw every single dime we've got into this, and give it a year and see what we got. No. Because that's dumb, because I'm not a rich guy. So if I throw everything I've got at it for a year and have nothing to show for it by the time it's over, what have I done? So let's do it instead, slow and steady. But the simple fact of the matter is that's the same general concept that the Obama administration has taken when it comes to the economy. Let's throw all of this money, all of these free things, all of these programs at the poor people, and then eventually they won't be poor anymore. Wrong answer, because at that point you've made them dependent. This is why I liked a lot of what Rand said during the clips that I let you listen to there. Because at that point, he was talking like somebody that I could actually get behind. He was saying the things that I needed to hear. The problem is, I'm not sure if he was telling me what I wanted to hear, or if he actually means them. So again, I reserve judgment for a later time, because I haven't made my decision yet, one way or another, who I'm going to put my endorsement on for the primary. I have to say I have apparently, through some sources that I can't necessarily vet, been reached out to by someone representing themselves as part of the Ted Cruz camp, who was a little concerned about some things that I've said about him in the past. All I've got to say about that is if some of you guys that are really that big are actually starting to listen to little old me, feel free to we can set up an interview. You can tell me what you think. I'll tell my 5 listeners who you are and what you stand for. But and I don't know. I mean, like I said, there's been some things that have happened as I've started to become more well-known that have honestly flabbergasted me, like the fact that I have been named one of the top 100 talk show hosts in the country by a group called Top Talk Radio. I don't know them from Adam. They reached out to me. I'd never heard of them before, so I'm not saying it's anything like being endorsed by Rush Limbaugh. But it was a pretty amazing thing to get an email that said, hey, we've listened to your show. We'd like to add you to a page that we have that lists the top 100 talk shows in the country that we're, as far as we're concerned, and we would like to add you to that list. I have to admit, I did, my fat wobbly butt was doing backflips. But anyway, I guess back to Rand a little bit. I don't know. The thing about it is, every time I get excited too early, somebody does something stupid. I have this sneaking suspicion that no matter how hard he tries, he's going to be a little bit too much like his dad. And I have some libertarian friends right now that are scowling at me through their computer, their phone, or whatever device they've decided to use to try to get on or listen to the show today. But it doesn't matter, because I've never said that I was a full-on libertarian. I go to a lot of libertarian functions, because I have to admit, I do agree with a lot of what they say. The biggest thing that concerns me about libertarians is most of them are either full-on anarchists, which is a disturbing concept, I'm just saying, or they have the whole open border fantasy, where we should be like some of these other countries in Europe that just let people come and go as they please, and be damned to the consequences. That's not a good idea either. So, I know he's a libertarian. I know he is. Right now he's not talking like one. And at least he's not talking like one in the stuff that I need him to not talk like one. So again, I'm going to reserve judgment. But I just have to say, it's early on. But right now, the two people that have officially declared, I'm a fan of both of them. I like each of them for different reasons. Time will tell whether or not I vote for one or the other when it comes time for primary, or if somebody else who hasn't announced yet gets my vote. But so far, out of the two that have announced, I am thoroughly impressed. We have people that actually know what the Constitution is. They know that it's not toilet paper. They know that it's not meant to be a birdcage liner. They know that it's not meant to be placed on a back burner somewhere and completely forgotten about or ignored. So far, I have to admit I'm impressed. I know there's not too much to be impressed about, because the only other person that we're pretty sure is going to try to run is old Jebby Jeb, otherwise known as Shrub the Third, otherwise known as Don't Vote for Me, or you'll never know what's going to come out of. Never mind. I'm just going to stop right there. Sometimes I have stream of consciousness things that happen when I'm talking, and it just all kind of starts running out, and I really don't have much of a filter. So occasionally I have to reel myself back in. So that's kind of what you just heard right there. Because every once in a while I'll just be like, yeah, what the heck, we're going to let it all hang out, and then I remember, wait, I actually try to treat this like it's actually on the radio, so let's not be too crazy. Oh damn, too late. Okay, so I'm guessing at this point, Mr. Stafford will not be joining us this evening. I have not seen or heard from him yet, I do not believe. Let me double check something here real quick while I continue to talk. Because I'm just that good. No, I'm just playing. Really not. Okay, well, apparently I'm supposed to call him. Did not know that, so give me just a second. This is what happens when you work a day job and try to do all this stuff too. You know, things get busy and get hectic, and then next thing you know, nothing's working the way it's supposed to. And he says he's on, but I can't find him. I was hoping I should be able to call him, but it won't let me call him because he's not in my network, which is why I sent him a request earlier. Alright, I hate to do this because I usually don't do this after the first break, but we're going to take a really quick break just so I can try to see if I can get Daniel on for the last few minutes, and we will be right back here in just 1 second. Alright, so please enjoy this little impromptu bit from Polititainment, and I will see if we can get Daniel on with us for the last few minutes of the show.
on this episode of Storage Wars. Another day, the rookie don't got no lockers, man. Money owns this town, man. I told you. Man, today I got no lockers. Last 2 trips, I lost my ass. I'm just about to say screw it. That or I need a mentor or something. Barack Obama? What are you doing here?
Money owns this town. Money owns this town. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Money owns this town.
Look, as a rookie here, I understand that you're going to have your ups and downs. Recently, I've had a lot more downs. So just imagine my surprise when Barack Obama shows up at the Mini U storage in Santa Ana, California. Mr. President, I can't... Wow, I can't believe you're here. They call me the rookie around here, but it's a pleasure to meet you. What are you doing here? It's a pleasure to meet you. Let's just say I'm a big fan of the show. And see you've been struggling. And when it comes to getting a good deal, let's just say I'm uniquely qualified. Figured I'd lend a hand. Lend a hand? What, like, me and you buy lockers together today? I mean, what are you thinking? I'm game if you are. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, of course. Let's do it.
Welcome to Santa Ana. Before you go through these gates, you need to know the rules. We're going to go to the unit. We're going to remove the locker. We're going to give you 5 minutes to take a look around. You can't go inside. You can't open any boxes. And whoever's got the most money in their pocket can own it today. Are you ready?
Yeah, all right. Let's do it.
All right. It sounds like you are. Let's go.
All right, so check it out. I see like a leather sofa over there, and there's some nice end tables there.
I gotta see some golf clubs.
Yeah, I see those back to the Titleist. Yeah, that's a good call, Mr. President. I see those. It's not a bad locker. What do you think? You want to get in on it?
Let's do it.
This locker's a real rookie taker. As in, I'll let a rookie take her. All right, here we go. How much money when you get to pay? How much money? Where? 50.
150.
Good job, Mary. 200. California girls, you shut them down.
300. 200,000. 200,000? It was at $350. We just spent $200,000 on a living room set and a set of golf clubs. Are you serious?
Hey, take it from me. You can never spend too much money on golf. Trust me on that one. Hey, where are you going? What's the big deal? Just print money like I do.
Storage Wars will be back.
All right, folks, so we're back. We're live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm Rick Robinson, joined today by my good friend Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice that has now moved his show here to K98 Talk. We decided to give him a few minutes just to kind of hang out today, mainly because he and I have never actually talked over more than Twitter, so I figured I'd spend a few minutes with him, maybe give him a chance to get to know maybe some folks that hadn't heard him before, since we do tend to have similar shows but seem to have different audiences. So, Mr. Stafford, how are you?
Welcome to technical support. How can I help you?
Oh, God, not that. Come on. I used to work for DirecTV as a team leader. I don't want to do that.
Oh, Rick, how's it going, man?
It's going all right. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm pumped. I really am. It's every night this week has been so far incredible. Monday we had a great turnout, and then I moved date night with my wife to Tuesday night, and then I finally. Some of the listeners may know this, that I'm in the middle of trying to finish up some college courses, and I got one of my reports back that I turned in like 2 weeks ago. I finally got my grade back on that. Took my math final last night also, and just totally knocked that one out the park. And tonight, I'm here with you. If this was Friday, I could have ended the week on probably the highest note that we could have started. So.
Oh, that's a really great week. In contrast, mine has actually kind of sucked.
I don't want to hear that, man.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not saying anything. I mean, being on with you is actually probably the high point of my week at this point because, yesterday I didn't wind up doing my show, and that's because it took me like an extra hour and a half to get home because my truck got to the point where it was doing maybe 10 mile an hour. So I am actually will be car shopping over the next few days. So that's always fun. But yeah,
is that not one of the worst things that somebody could go through? Despite having all these other little glitches that we have go on day to day. And, you look at the news and you realize, oh man, all this news just sucks. And then you go out and you get in your car. It's like the second major purchase of your life, aside from your house or whatever.
Order right. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We were talking about you, not me.
When your car breaks down.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it honestly sucked. I mean, because it was running a little rough yesterday, and I've got an old truck. It's a 2001, but it's been paid for quite some time. So I basically just decided I was going to drive it till the wheels fall off. Well, I've been stocking back some money for a while, and I've decided, because I'm still going to fix it up, because I'm not going to trade it in. I'm just going to pay cash for another car. That way I've got something that I can drive back and forth to work, and then I'm going to save up a little bit more money and then pay somebody to fix it. That way, by the time it's all said and done, there's actually 3 cars at my house instead of just 2. Because the one thing that today reminded me of is I really don't like being down to a single car, so I'm definitely going to have to fix that as quick as I can. Then for me, I know you and I hadn't had much of a chance to talk, but I do have a background in law enforcement, both public sector and private security work. And the story that's come out over the last couple of days about the cop that basically shot a guy in the back and they have video proof of it, that's just completely had me, over the bend pissed off as soon as I heard about it, because that's just contrary to everything that anybody that's ever gone through any type of law enforcement training is ever supposed to do. And it just, to me, it just seems like it almost, the people are going to be able to, or they're going to try to use that to validate everything that they've been screaming about the other issues for the past year. And it just makes me so mad.
Yeah, and I can understand where you're coming from. I used to be in the Army, and one of the things that we as groups, when you go out there and you practice and you train, I mean, you're constantly training 24/7. You're sleep deprived, food deprived. It sucks. And when you revert back to your training, and as long as you've been doing all your training properly, the last thing you have to worry about is when you get into what we saw in this video that came out today. When this cop, the only video footage that I saw is probably what you saw, where the video starts with the perpetrator in the cop's face. It appeared maybe there was a struggle, maybe there wasn't. I don't know. Hypothetical at this point, because everything leading up to that point where the video started, who knows? But then you see the perpetrator take off. At what point does a police officer think they need to pull their weapon and drop 8 rounds or 9 rounds? The guy is 15 to 20 feet, and it doesn't look like he's going to stop. He's just going to keep running. I don't know what came over the cop. At this point, maybe he must have had something else clearly on his mind. But I think I read somewhere where he had said that it was in self-defense. How in the hell can anybody claim it's self-defense when the guy is running away from you? I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, that's contrary to every ounce of training I've ever... I mean, and the training is ingrained in you. It's a lot like the stuff they put you guys through in the military. I mean, so he had to go against instinct at that point to pull the trigger on somebody that was running away from him, because with as hard as they train and as often as they train, or at least they used to, I'm starting to wonder if they do half the things they used to, just from some of the stupid videos that I have seen. But, the simple fact of the matter is it makes me angry for all the officers out there that are doing it right every day, that put the uniform on, and they do it to make a difference. And they put their lives on the line every day for people that could give a crap less that they're even out there most of the time, just because there's an off chance they may have to write them a ticket for doing something stupid. And then you get this idiot who just basically says, oh, screw it, he's running away from me, I don't want to chase him, I'm going to shoot him.
Yeah. I mean, and what's really sad is when you try and highlight the good stories out there that cops are doing, like, it was a couple of months ago where here locally at a local Target, my wife and I, we were out running some errands, and we walked in, and there was probably 15 police officers in uniform. Each one of them had a young child with them, and they were taking them throughout the store, and they were filling up carts and paying for this stuff. So these less than fortunate children had something to put under a tree. And almost every single kid that came back with a full cart there, I mean, you could tell that this was a life changer for them. And to see that the local law enforcement was doing this and doing it out of their own pockets was incredible. And they would say, look, are you sure you got enough? Are you sure you don't want that new pair of shoes? Let's go get them anyway. Who cares? Let's go get them. You want them? Let's do it. And they go out and they go get more board games or more clothes. I mean, these people are down on their luck, and to see law enforcement do that was incredible. And I pulled a couple of them off and talked to them, and they were completely humbled that they had the opportunity and that somebody else was noticing what was happening. And then you see, even more recently, was the cop that was doing the Taylor Swift song, Shake It Off. That stuff's hilarious, man. This is stuff we need to see. I don't want to turn on the news and watch another guy get killed.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's just
it's a crazy world out there, man. It really is.
All right, so we're definitely going to have to try to do this again sometime when we can actually have you on for more than about the last 10 minutes of the show. I do apologize for the miscommunication, but we are about to hit the top of the hour. Just in case you do have folks that might not be tuning in for you yet, why don't you tell them where they can find you and when?
Well, obviously you can tune in every Monday, 10 to 11 p.m. Eastern, 9 to 10 Central, right here on K98 Talk. Or you can hit me up on the Twitters at Stafford Voice.
You are one of two people that I know that calls it the Twitters.
Man, I like to mess stuff up. It's the Twitters, it's the YouTubes, it's the interwebs, it's the Facebooks. I don't care.
No, it's just funny because and you're probably not going to like this when I tell you, but there's the show that I do on Saturday mornings. One of them actually has a liberal co-host. Well, the guy that I started it with, his name is Dave, and he's always called it. He calls it the Facebook, which I've always said makes him sound really, really old. But anytime he starts talking about Twitter, he starts calling it the Twitters. And I'm like, first of all, there's no the, and where did the S come from? But yeah, you're like the one of two people that I know that actually says it that way. I don't know. It may start rubbing off on me. You never know.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again.
All right, yeah, we'll definitely need to try to set up a time to do this again in the near future. At this point, it is the top of the hour, folks. I'm going to have to take a back seat, get things lined up to get Miss Polita Bunny in here in the driver's seat, and she will be with us here in just a couple minutes. You guys, thanks for tuning in. Again, thanks for hanging out with me, at least for a few minutes, Daniel. We'll have to do it again sometime soon.
Sure thing.
Take care.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
On this episode of Storage Wars. And now, Barack Obama shows us how to negotiate. Lesson 1, shopping for that new car. President Obama, I got to say thank you for meeting me here. I mean, I feel kind of overwhelmed. I'm not really good at negotiating. No problem. That's what I'm here for. So what kind of car are you looking at? It's that Cadillac CTS over there. Look, it's a beautiful car, but I mean, the guy told me like the most they'll go down is like $1,000 below sticker price. That's nuts. No way I'm paying that. Well, let's just say I used to own GM, if you know what I mean. So, pretty sure I can get us a good deal. Hey, guys, how you doing? Anything in particular you're looking for today?
Oh, hey, Mr. President, how are you? Paul, it's a privilege. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you as well. My friend and I here want to get a price on this Cadillac. And let me just say, as a guy who used to own this company, I expect a good deal.
I'll see what I can do for you guys, of course, absolutely.
Right now, we're willing to make you an offer of $62,000 on that Cadillac.
What are you doing?
I got this.
Mr. President, we appreciate the offer, 62, but, the sticker price is 55. You just offered him $7,000 over the sticker price. That was too much as it is. What do you...
Hey, who's doing the negotiation here?
You are, I guess. Whatever.
Listen, I'm running out of patience here. I'm going to draw a red line. $65,000, that's it. Actually, forget that. It's time to play hardball. Fine, $70,000.
Are you nuts?
Listen, I got him right where I want him. Since it sounds, Paul, like you're not taking this offer seriously, why don't you get your manager?
I'll get my sales manager. Hold on a second.
So, what have you learned so far?
I've learned that unless you're negotiating with Republicans in Congress, you're awful at this. I'm out of here.
Fine, suit yourself. But I'm pretty sure I could have talked him down to a 17% interest rate. Hey, how much you want for the upgraded floor mats?
Join us next time for even more tips on how to negotiate like a pro with Barack Obama.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members, of their families or their children, asking them to deploy, patrol, stay on watch, on point, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to bring them all the way home, to keep them secure, to have their backs for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs do whatever it takes to help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.